Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening and welcome back to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier, and welcome. Glad to have you here with us tonight. Definitely excited about the topic as well. Thanks, Christine. And I think I saw Isaiah there too. So thanks for joining in this evening. And, definitely look forward to having a great show. As you know, as a business owner, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to lead it. So it's dependent on the success of your leadership skills. So that's really what Leadership Live is all about. We try and share expertise that can help you become a better leader so you can be more successful with your small business. Definitely take advantage of this. We appreciate your comments, your questions. We do this for you, so feel free to participate. If there's something you want to know, ask the question. Myself or the guest will be more than happy to share expertise with you. So tonight, we got a special guest, and really excited about chatting with him. We've got Jay Abdulaziz, and we're going to talk about how to unleash your entrepreneurial potential. And really, this week's show is about what I consider one of your most important jobs as a business owner. Anybody who's taken a class with me or read my book knows that your most important job as a business owner is generating sales through marketing and selling. So tonight, that's what we're going to be focused on. So we've got someone who has a lot of expertise in that area, and look forward to really asking a lot of great questions so we can learn. I always learn with this as well. So I'm going to invite our guest now, Jay, and we're going to start talking small business. Good evening, Jay. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. Very excited to be here today with you.
Excellent. Thanks for joining me. Definitely. We got to chat a little bit. I got to learn a little bit about what you're doing, what you've done, and sort of where you've come. And, it's really impressive. So I can't do that justice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few minutes, talk a little bit about your journey, sort of how you got to where you are now and what you're doing now. And then, we'll continue the evening asking questions, answering questions, and chatting about small business, my favorite topic.
Absolutely. So, I don't want to stray anybody away from going to school, but the way it all started was actually, I, during high school, looked for a job. So I started out working as a sandwich artist at Subway. I used to work for my uncles, and one day I was like, hey, let me look for a job that kind of correlates with my high school schedule. And I started working at a telemarketing agency, doing sales over the phone from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. And that's how my career really kicked off. And so I started doing these phone sales. This is where I really started to learn how to one call close. And once I got done with the vacations, it took a couple of years. My ex-manager had went to go sell insurance. So he gave me a call one day and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you still selling vacations?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come sell insurance." I knew nothing about insurance. Long story short, I went there for a couple of weeks, didn't like it. I hated it. I was bad at it. Um, but what I realized is that it was a different kind of sale, different kind of product, same process. Anyway, long story short, I kind of climbed the ladder there, made my way to assistant manager, then manager. Eventually, I became the director of operations there. And before I knew it, I was off to starting my first agency with the owner of the company I was working for as my first investor. So that was my first agency. Since then, we've launched 10 other agencies, um, all health insurance. So all under 65 health insurance. Since then, we've also gotten involved with final expense. Um, we've launched again 10 plus agencies that are successful. Some I've had ownership in, others are just my direct downlines. And today, I own a marketing agency. I'm an FMO for both final expense and Obamacare. So we do tons of under 65 health insurance, and we do tons of final expense and Obamacare. So those are our two things, and we have lead generation companies that support both of those verticals. So that's my elevator pitch.
Excellent, excellent. So, you've been a little bit busy, huh? Um,
A little bit.
little bit. So, you talked about a few key things that I think are extremely valuable for business owners to know and understand.
First things first, marketing. So generating your own leads as a business owner is probably the single most important thing that you can do, right? If you're a dentist and you don't have any teeth to work on, you're kind of working on yourself, right? So sales and marketing are the two things that drive any company. So anytime I start up a new agency, the reason they usually go successful is the first thing I look for is a sales leader. The second thing I look for is, do they have their own lead generation? Now, obviously, like me starting up my own agencies, we already have the marketing for final expense and for ACA. So when it comes to starting up a new downline or new agency, I need to make sure that we have a good sales leader that could take those leads and convert them. So having your own lead generation or having a reliable source of leads is the single most important key. The four pillars that our insurance agencies stand on, besides number one is lead generation, number two is sales processes, number three would be recruiting, and then number four would be retention. Any kind of subscription-based business, especially insurance, requires lots of retention practices. So those are the four pillars that our business stands on. So I would say those are the four most important things to think about.
Okay, great. Definitely. One thing you mentioned was that, you were better in one area of sales than another. And so at the end of the day, sales is not just sales. And if you can sell one place, that doesn't mean you can't sell another place. But also sales skills are transferable, so you can learn how to sell.
Absolutely. And actually, that is another key factor, right? When you're, transfer of information is very important. That's how you scale a business. So, having that training manual, those training classes that could transfer that information so you can kind of pass your knowledge down to your counterparts, that is a key part of the business. In fact, I have a little something for your audience, if you will. If you guys go to onecallclosesale.com, all spelled out, onecallclosesale.com, there's a 9-page free PDF that anyone can download, and that's the 9-page PDF that I wrote that will share with you how to become an expert at one call closing. onecallclosesale.com. So that transfer of information, all of my employees, all of my downlines, all the ownership reads that PDF. Very valuable to them, and they're able to kind of get some inside my brain look at how I look at a one call close and how it translates to their production.
Okay, excellent. So cool. So we're gonna dig into this, but before we do that, I'm just gonna play a short video. We do this program, the show, through the Small Business Pro University. So of course, it would be good to know what the Small Business Pro University is. So we're gonna take a quick break. Then we'll be back with Jay talking small business. Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded the Small Business Pro University to help business owners break that cycle by empowering them with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead their companies more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've worked one-on-one with more than 1,000 business owners and taught tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a Navy officer, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to grow revenue, increase profit, and obtain financing faster and easier. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include more than 100 expert-led multimedia courses and training programs with more than 2,500 lessons. The Small Business Pro Network, our private community for entrepreneurs. Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, our weekly live stream and podcast. Advanced Learning Institutes focused on revenue generation, profit maximization, and capital acquisition. And the Power Breakfast series, in-person events where business owners learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. If you want to sell more and make more, you need to check out Small Business Pro University. Visit our website at www.sbprou.com. All right, good evening. We're back with Jay talking small business. And of course, we're talking about sales and marketing. And, Jay's really been able to do some great things with it, not just on the sales and marketing front, but also, parlaying that into creating many businesses, which is outstanding. So, one of the things that, is key for a lot of business owners is usually they don't have much experience in sales or calling. So they're usually just out there winging it. So a lot of times, I'm sort of doing sales and marketing 101. So what do you consider sales and marketing 101 to be?
Being yourself, and first things first, marketing is obviously there's so many different angles for marketing. We'll start with the marketing. Marketing is basically casting your net out to your target audience. And that could be online in the digital space. That's more popular now. Back in the day, mailers. Let's talk about insurance. So insurance, back in the day, we would go door knocking. We would set up stalls outside of Walmart because that's where our customer base was. We would, send out mailers, right? Now that's transformed into the digital space. So casting a net to your target audience, discussing or laying out an ad that someone can respond to. So now all of our leads come from paid search, social media, TV. They come from mailers. They come from all over the place, but mainly the digital market space. So once you actually have someone who's expressed interest in your product, now comes the sales piece. Now the sales piece, I don't know if you've ever seen the Jordan Belfort sort of sell me this pen, right? The whole purpose of that sell me this pen is mainly that what he says is anytime he tells a sales agent, sell me this pen, they start with all this gibberish. The pen can do this, they can do that, it writes in different colors, it can write upside down, and they just start going into this sales pitch. But in all reality, what he's looking for people to do is ask questions. So when it comes to sales, the first thing that you need to do once you open up is start asking questions, fact finding, figure out why is this person on the phone? Why did they express interest? What is their story? Being yourself, you know, I remember, back when I first started, I started to read a script with a completely different voice, completely different personality. And my manager looked at me and said, listen, sales isn't you pretending to be something you're not. Sales is being yourself. It's all about your delivery. It's all about your fact finding. It's all about your presentation. It's all about knowing exactly who your customer is, who you're talking to. So sales 101 to me is very basic process is fact finding, find out why this person's on the phone with you. Number two, deliver your presentation based on the facts that you found. So for insurance, let's just say I ask someone, hey, what are the most important aspects of your health insurance to you? And they tell me they want a dental plan. I'm not going to start raving about how good the vision plan is and how good the prescription card is. I'm going to find the facts that they want to know about the dental plan. So delivering your presentation that highlights exactly what your customer is looking for, and then being knowledgeable about any possible concerns that the customer may have, and obviously knowing that it's a good fit. So Mark Cuban says this all the time. Selling isn't tricking people, it's really helping people. So if someone's looking for health insurance, our job is to go find them exactly what they're looking for. So I'm going to find out exactly what they want. I'm going to lay down some realistic expectations, and then I'm going to help them find whatever it is that's the best fit for them. So that's in a nutshell kind of sales 101 for me.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, sales is about solving problems for people. It doesn't have to be scary. It's just a conversation like we're having now, if you're doing it right, and it should be natural. So, no, those are great points. One of the key things I always talk about is, because sales and marketing are so important, you need to learn how to do them properly. And
exactly,
marketing's neither one's totally more important than the other, but the better you market, the easier it is to sell. And
absolutely.
So now, when you look at defining, usually you're in marketing, one of the first things you do is define your target market. What does that mean, and how do you do that for your businesses?
I'll give you a good example. For final expense, our target market is ages 50 to 80. That's our target market. And usually lower income families are the ones that need final expense insurance because it's basically burial insurance, which pays out anywhere from $5,000 to $35,000, when you pass away. So the more affluent families out there will say, well, we'll just cover it when that day comes. We'll cover it out of pocket. The lower income families tend to find those amounts to be very helpful when that day comes. They don't want to burden their loved ones with that kind of bill. So that's our target audience. So once you find the states that your target audience are in, if you're selling nationwide, what their age group is, what their income level should be, what their depends on what what you're selling, right? So if you're selling pens, you want to look for students, right? So and you want to look for business entrepreneurs. So our target market for insurance is again that age group between 50 and 80. So once you've defined who your average customer is, once you have enough data to know exactly who your average customer is, you find databases where that kind of customer will be, and then you show those customers those kind of ads. the ads that you want. So marketing 101 for me is, finding the right audience, the target market. If you just shotgun your advertising to everyone and anyone, you're going to have a pretty high cost per lead, and in turn, a very high cost per acquisition. So you really want to narrow it down to your target audience.
Okay, great. So actually, you mentioned cost per lead, and one of the things I've found and actually wrote about in my book in chapter 3 is what is their greatest fear as a business owner, and generally I find it's numbers and analysis, and but in today's day and age, you can't shy away from that. Marketing is all about numbers and analysis and tracking and understanding where you are. So can you talk a little bit about how that works, especially on the sales and marketing side?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when it comes to cost per lead, what you're looking for is multitude of things. You're looking for which ad is working for you, driving your lowest cost per call in our scenario, or cost per web form, right? You also want to look um, at the end of the day, that's your target, right? But your reporting shows you all kind of metrics that drive that cost per lead. So, for example, how many people are visiting your web page but not actually filling out your web form or actually calling, right? Why are they not calling? Why, you want to continuously improve your smaller metrics to get to your main metric, which is your actual cost per lead. And that's going to heavily translate to your cost per sale. So, when you're in a business where you're generating your own leads, and your own leads are going to turn your cost per sale, we're going to dictate your cost per sale rather, then you have to have full control on your marketing. See, most companies will either hire a marketing company to generate their leads, or a lot of franchise business owners will depend on the brand to do all the advertising for them, right? And the reason for that is because it's a lot easier to let someone else handle the full scope of marketing, because there's so much to it, to lower the cost per lead. So you can just take that low cost per lead and turn it into a sale. When we took control of our marketing, my cost per lead was crazy. My cost per sale was crazy, but I knew I was kind of investing into the future. So I continued to take losses because I knew how valuable having that asset would be, my own leads. In time, we've created a solid engine where we've driven down our cost per lead significantly. In turn, our cost per sale is pretty significantly low, which increased our profit margin in the long run. So, you have to really be able to stomach, a pretty high cost per lead, pretty high cost per acquisition at first. And as you continue to improve your processes and those smaller metrics, and you improve campaigns, and in your mind that every one of these campaigns is going to go bad within a month, 2 months, 3 months, and you have to continuously A/B test with different ads, with different audiences, just you have to keep it moving. There is no, if I stop focusing on my marketing tomorrow, I guarantee you 6 months from now, my cost per acquisition is going to go out of control. So, marketing and keeping that cost low is absolutely vital for you to be involved and be, constantly watching those numbers. So that really is stressful, and that's what it's all about. That's how you keep it low. Or, like I said, you just hire a marketing company, let them do it for you, and take that stress off your shoulders.
Okay. Great point. I mean, definitely I've found that marketing is not just a little bit of work. And it generally is, you can't appreciate, how much time and energy and knowledge and learning it takes to do it right. And then, just because you're doing it right doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the results that you want when you want them. So, that's a good point about getting support with your marketing efforts. So, but also you invested in your business. A lot of times people assume that, when you have a business, you're like, okay, well, I have the business now, I should just be making money and taking money out. But, even, seasoned business owners who are very successful end up putting money in their business at times and aren't always taken out. Is that the case for you? How do you prepare for that? And what, how do you evaluate whether it's worth it or not?
You give everything a fair shot. You give everything a fair time period, right? For me, I give every campaign 90 days before I give up on it. That's just in the insurance business and in the lead generation space. I've kind of figured out like my formula, and my formula is I A/B test with different ads, different campaigns. I'll give. The way to think about it is I like to watch everything every single day, but I don't make decisions on a 1-day basis. I don't make decisions on a 1-week basis. I have to zoom out and I have to look at things from a 30, 60, 90-day perspective and look at where's my trajectory going? Am I going upwards? Am I going downwards? Is it staying steady? So the point here is that, you can't, when it comes to sales too, right? You can't just decide everything on a week, 2 weeks. And all too often, a lot of entrepreneurs do that, where they'll say, hey man, this isn't working. How long have you been doing it? Man, I've been doing it 4 weeks. Nothing's happening, and that doesn't work all the time. Now, sometimes they might be throwing good money after bad, but you have to give it a fair 90-day shot. That's the way I think about it. I always have cash reserves for a rainy day and for marketing and for reinvestments. So you have to keep healthy budgets. And obviously, for the guys that are starting out, you don't have a big budget right away. So you have to kind of take it, depending on where you're at in the business. But, we keep a healthy reserve in our accounts, and we're constantly chasing, the new content. And that's another thing that I'll touch on is, for me, original content is key. A lot of marketers, they try to rip other people's marketing, other people's ads, other people's wording. And what you don't know is that new ads work for a few weeks, maybe if you're lucky, a couple of months, and then they go bad, meaning the cost per lead on those start to go up. So if you're just ripping someone else's ad, think of it as I would say, buying a used car, right? Actually, that's a terrible analogy, but
How about stealing someone's playoff ticket after the game is over?
You know what? That might be a better analogy, because you're basically taking someone's stuff and they've already squeezed all the juice out of it, all the profits out of it, and now you're just stealing that and you're kind of getting the leftovers, and then you have to create original content anyway. So original content for marketing is key. And to answer your question, we kind of give timelines, and we keep a healthy reserve for that marketing.
Okay. And you mentioned that, you give 3 months, and, one of the major concepts in sales is around touches. And, that's one of the ways I kind of help people understand that, it's not a one and done. Can you explain what touches are and how they work and why they're so important?
On marketing, right?
Marketing, sales, it's sort of like
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I like to talk a lot about one call close sales. Most of our business, interestingly enough, comes from not the first call. I like the one call closes because if you ask the right questions, you do the proper fact finding, and you go through the presentation, of what your offer is, and it's compelling, and you're able to find the customer exactly what they're looking for, there's very little reason why the customer won't buy today. So you're able to close those on the first call, but there's a lot of follow up, and the touches include, now for us, SMS, email marketing, sending out pieces of mail, all kinds of touches, and then we also have our team that is constantly contacting those people that have opted in, uh, provided express written consent for us to follow up with them and give them our offer. So, most people, I mean, they're not just sitting around waiting for your phone call, right? Most of these people are working, they've got life is going on. So when you contact them, they might not be available. When you contact them, they might not have the time. So setting up those callbacks, following up, even the people that don't respond at all, just touching up on those people, that's key, man. I mean, our average sale comes from calling someone 9 times or touching that lead 9 times. So, that's where most of our production comes from. And then up front, we just have a very decent closing percentage when it comes to one call closes. But the majority of our production comes from, after 5 attempts.
Excellent, excellent. So yeah, definitely, you got to put in the work, and you have to follow up. So what I'm going to do is I got I launched my most recent book before the year ended, called the Entrepreneurial Playbook, the second edition. I've got a short video about it, but also I want to go through the framework with Jay, because I think that will help you even better appreciate what he's done and what he's doing, and how you could potentially do the same thing. So we're going to take a minute to check that out, and then we'll be right back talking small business.
Awesome.
Most businesses are not growing, could be more profitable, and have cash flow issues due to lack of capital. What if you knew the secret to generating revenue, maximizing profitability, and acquiring capital when you need it?
I'm Andrew Frazier, and I've developed a proven 5-step framework to take you from startup to scaling faster and easier.
I laid it all out in the Entrepreneurial Playbook. It's available now in both English and Spanish on Amazon, Audible, and my website, sbprou.com. Get your copy today to start selling more and making more sooner. Good evening. I'm here with Jay, and we're talking small business. And one of the things that I really like about Jay's story is he's gone from the lowest level to some of the highest levels you can attain in business, and that's very difficult. It doesn't happen a lot. So my Entrepreneurial Playbook framework lays out the process, and would love to have you take a look at the process and talk a little bit about your journey in terms of that, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
So there's really 5 different steps that your business has to go through from startup to scaling to do it successfully. But not only that, you have to evolve as a business owner through every step, because there's a different skill set required to successfully accomplish the goals at that step. So, these are some of the steps, going from working on the concept, before you start your business, working in your business, working on your business, working on the future of your business, and scaling your business. So each one has things that you have to, move through. Definitely most people get stuck between working in and working on their business, actually because of the numbers thing, because you can't really work on anything that you can't measure, and you can't measure stuff without numbers. So, how did you make that transition? Because a lot of people don't make that transition.
So I started out being accountable to the owners of the company for numbers. So I was pretty early on. I was pretty attached to all my numbers. Obviously, as time went on, we started measuring different things. But for me, reporting and measuring different areas of, all costs involved, all, I even in the early stages of my career, I was measuring talk times pretty early on. I was trying to figure out, my state list, like which states do we operate better in. Um, I've done crazy things. I've taken my entire sales floor and done crazy reports on like their signs. Like, are they a Pisces? Are they Leos? Like, who's performing better? And just try to find any correlation that I can. So I think that like my transition periods were mainly technology. I want to say like what's helped me scale is technology that can help me measure different things much faster, put it in my face in real time. And, I told the technology what to measure, but it still helped me really take things to the next level.
Okay. No, makes a lot of sense. And it's great that you experienced that earlier on in your entrepreneurial career. And one of the things that I always tell people is, sales is one of the best skills you can get. And even if your first job is sales and you flame out, you're going to learn a lot of valuable stuff. Either way, that you'll take with you for the rest of your life. And if you learn how to sell well, you'll never not have money, because you can always make money anywhere, anytime. Do you agree with that? And what do you think are the most important takeaways that people take away when they learn how to sell?
I absolutely 100% wholeheartedly agree with that. Once you learn how to sell, I mean that skill set is way more valuable than learning, than getting a 4-year degree in many cases. Unless you're a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot, one of the things that really requires school, a sales skill set is going to allow you to go a long way. I mean, I don't know if you watch Shark Tank and see some of those people that come on with their pitches, but the people that get those deals are the real salesmen, right? Because again, you could be the sharpest tool in the shed, but if you can't sell your product, if you can't come on the Shark Tank and sell why your product is good, and you can't articulate that, you're not selling a shark on getting a deal. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. My opinion is, once you learn how to sell, then you could really join any company. You could join really anything and understand their process. And you'll find that a lot of those processes are extremely similar. It's all about, building rapport, do that proper fact finding, understand exactly what your customer wants and needs, and delivering, in a, in a way of matching that product with your customer's needs. And if you're able to successfully do those things, and obviously there's, it's an art. This is not engineering. This is a science. So once you really understand the science, that you could really make money in any phase of your life.
Okay. Excellent. So actually, I have a degree in engineering, and
Awesome.
I had to unlearn some of that stuff to be better at business, because it is both an art and a science. But you mentioned about processes, and I think processes many times are overlooked by many people in terms of how important they are and what they are and what they do. But you said sales processes. So really, generally, it seems like if you're going to successfully sell, you have to have a process. So what is a process, and what does your sales process look like?
So our sales process is very similar to an assembly line system. So, we've got once our lead comes into our system, then we have the first person that contacts that lead is our fronters or connectors. And those guys are the ones that are actually getting the customer on the phone, pre-qualifying them, getting them over to what we call a junior closer. Now, the junior closer goes on, re-verify some information, goes over the presentation, you know, and then gets that call over to a senior closer. A senior closer re-verifies all pre-existing conversation, goes through all the fact finding again, make sure that now they build rapport, and then that just makes the life a lot easier for a senior closer. And then the call goes to a validator who then finalizes and places the deal. So it's a very much like an assembly line system. And if we didn't have those processes in place, it would be it'd be a broken system. This is 10 years plus of us perfecting the processes and the systems to make things work. And I just believe that no matter what kind of sale it is or what kind of product you have, if you don't have the processes in place, like even for our recruiting, right? So we have a full process, very similar. We bring everybody in. Anybody that has any kind of sales experience, we invite them to our training class. We make our cuts in our training class. Then we bring everybody out to the floor. They sit next to someone that's been doing it for a long time. They're shadowing, and then we make cuts there, and then it's on the job training. And then if you make it, you make it. It's sink or swim at that point. But that process allows us to keep and retain anybody that is cut out for this. And for the people that aren't cut out for it, they usually end up not making it.
Okay, and that's part of life, and sometimes it's better for everybody. So, but definitely when you're talking about processes like that, it creates consistency, it creates repeatability, and then it also sets things up such that you don't have to be there all the time to have things work the way you want. So definitely that's key. I think we lost Jay for a sec, but he should be back shortly. So what I'll do is I shall take another quick commercial break, and then we'll come back. Those of you who are familiar with my Power Breakfast events, you know how we've really been able to do them over 10 years and help people get financing, help people get access to opportunities to sell more and make more. So our next one's coming up on March 22nd. So I invite you to come check it out. And here's a quick video so you can see a little bit about what we're going to be doing. Are you an entrepreneur or business owner? If so, you need to check out the Power Breakfast. The Power Breakfast is New Jersey's premier business networking event for entrepreneurs. The Power Breakfast is a unique forum for learning best practices, enjoying great networking, and gaining useful knowledge. Over the past 10 years, we have hosted more than 1,500 attendees who have directly benefited with revenue growth and financing. Join me at the next Power Breakfast event on March 22nd in the clubhouse at Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Jimmy Newsom, the Impact Influencer, is our featured guest speaker, and his topic is how digital transformation can increase profitability for small business.
I'm Jimmy Newsom, known as the Impact Influencer, influencing other small business owners to get the things done that matter the most to them, working on strategy, looking at the big picture, because that's where we find our true north to move forward. So I'm the founder of Moving Forward Small Business. We're on a mission to save a million as one of the strategies you could be focusing on for let's just say 2024.
I look forward to seeing you at the Power Breakfast on March 22nd. Okay. All right. Welcome back. I think we lost Jay. His phone may have died. I know he was running, was in between meetings, but hopefully he'll be able to join back in. But, as we're, doing that, let's just go over a few things. One, we're talking about sales and marketing being your most important job. and really understanding what sales and marketing are and how you do it, because the better you do it, the more successful you and your business are going to be. So definitely encourage learning as much about sales and marketing as you possibly can. So how do you do that? One, you have shows like this. We actually have back episodes that you can see if you go on to YouTube. And we've had a lot of different sales and marketing from a lot of different perspectives, because there's not one end all and be all way to sell or market. It depends on the industry. It depends on whether it's a product or service. It depends on who you are and what your style is. It depends on your customers. So, learning as much as possible about different ways to market and sell. One thing that's important as a small business owner is you got to keep in mind that, what you need to do to successfully market as a small business is generally the opposite of what successful marketing looks like as a big business. So if you're looking at big businesses for how to sell and market, you may be doing the opposite or trying to do the opposite of what you should be doing. And then you're not going to get the results that you seek or want. So definitely want to keep on top of that. Jay talked a little bit about touches and just, he has a one call close, but it really isn't a one call close. Generally they say it takes 7 to 12 touches before someone's going to buy from you. And that's, not just talking to them 7 to 12 times, but just really somehow experiencing you or your brand. Whether it's a voicemail, whether it's a social media, whether it's an email, whether it's a call, how, they have to interact with you enough times to first remember and understand that you're there and know who you are. Beyond that, you need to, be able to build trust. People aren't going to buy from people they don't trust. So they got to trust you. And one of the ways, people can trust you is through follow-up and being there and being professional throughout the process. And then they got to like you, but they can't really like you if they don't know anything about you. So, it's important to get people to know, like, and trust you. And that's really the goal and perspective of marketing. So, Roberta, thanks for your comment. Definitely the importance of having a system, additional benefits being peace of mind, clarity, and more money. Definitely if you're going to create a business that can run successfully without you, then you need to be able to create processes and systems so that other people can run it in the way that you would want it run and in a consistent way so that you can maintain your business. That's, sort of like the franchise model. Those of you who are familiar with Michael Gerber, that's one of the things he says, that, you should create a business that runs like a franchise. For those of you who don't know Michael Gerber, he's the author of The E-Myth, which is one of the best books ever for entrepreneurs and small business owners. It's a classic. He's probably about like 80 years old now, and he's still speaking and doing great stuff. But if you haven't read it, definitely something that you should think about reading. So definitely you can get it online, Amazon, audiobook, whatever. But you'll definitely learn some valuable and useful knowledge from that. So, hopefully you'll check that out. Definitely, when we're talking about sales and marketing, everything starts with your target market. So figuring out who your target market is, what their challenge is, and how your product is the solution for their need, want, or desire. So that's really what you're doing, the first step of creating a business. I started going through the Masterpreneur Playbook framework So we talked about the stages of your business, really going from working on the concept of your business, in your business, on the future, and then scaling, and needing to go through those 5 steps to really get to scaling. But also your role changes in each step. And, if you're not successfully doing your role, your business isn't going to move forward to the next level. So, going from entrepreneur, being a supervisor, entrepreneur, employee, working in the business, graduating to having more of a manager role, working on the business. So, it's important to, be able to make that switch. It's different skills. But, if you can't make that transition, then your organization can't make that transition. And as a manager, your goal is to optimize the business. From there, you got to become an executive. When you have managers, you need to let them manage, and you need to be an executive, be able to coach them and help them become better managers and manage in the way that you want them to manage. And then finally, once you have executives, you need to be the CEO, and really be more of a symbol, both internally and externally to your company, to help with it being able to scale, because you're going to have to drive a lot of that. So, question, the E-myth, Dr. Michelle, that's a great question. Start with the E-myth revisited. That's really the first step. The E-myth mastery is a lot longer. It is a good book. It is very good, but definitely you want to start with the E-myth revisited, because that sort of just really helps you better understand, what what running a business is all about, and kind of understand sort of some of the perspective that you need to have as a business owner to run your business successfully. So thanks for that. Yeah, definitely the E-myth revisited by Michael Gerber's the one you want to check out. And then on the marketing side, I mentioned your target market is key. Even beyond just your target market, you want to, there's different steps. You go from working on people who are prospects, to people who are leads, to people who are customers. And, there's a process that you can take them through to most successfully do that. And, that's laid out in the one-page marketing plan book by a guy named Alan Dibb. And that's well worth your time to learn about marketing, especially from a small business perspective. So that's the one-page marketing plan by Alan Dibb, ALLANDIB. And, that, lays out, framework to do a one-page marketing plan, and then lays out, how you do it successfully. Now, just because it's one page doesn't mean it's easy and quick, because he wrote a whole book about how to fill out that one page. But, it helps you to focus and be really clear about your marketing strategy and what you're going to do from a marketing standpoint. So those are some key things about sales and marketing. Definitely, it's important to continue to grow and develop those skills. Definitely, if you're looking for help or ideas, feel free to reach out. As well, there's training. We do training. Small business development centers do training. A lot of organizations. I have a calendar on my website that has a lot of useful dates and activities and events that could be helpful. So definitely, check those out. We're coming up on 9 o'clock, so we're going to close out, but, definitely appreciate you joining and hanging in there this evening. Apologize for Jay not being able to make it the whole time, but I think we did get valuable, perspective and knowledge and ideas about, from our talk with him, and things that we can employ to, be more successful in what you're doing. So, with that being said, let me just talk a little bit about our guests next week. As you know, each week we have great guests, and our guest next week is Cash Miller. What's his last? Cash Miller. That's right, I had it. And what we're going to talk about is how to become a digital marketing master. Cash has been in digital marketing for many years and seen a lot of in runs a digital marketing firm. And, at the end of the day, we're in a digital economy. We're in a digital environment. So it's very important to be able to understand the digital place and how to take advantage of that. So, so looking forward to having him come out next week, and hopefully you can join us. And, really, at the end of the day, the more that you know, the more successfully your business is going to grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.